What's wrong is believing that this is it, believing that this is going to be your life forever. And what's wrong is committing suicide. I would write my suicide letter, and then something inside me would be just like, stop, no, just stop. And then I would like throw it in the trash. And then the next day I would rewrite it again and throw it away. Like, let's say that something didn't go their way. They would go ahead and mix up some black magic, put it together, and then make that person do whatever they wanted to do. And when I speak about this, I want my story to be heard because I feel like these people and a lot of people like them have ruined many lives, and people just have no idea. You can come across someone that is your friend for a while, and then you say something or do something that they don't like, and then they're boom, your whole life is ruined. Because the people that I live with, this is what they used to do. Time spells. Like, I've seen real time rituals being done in front of my face. Putting her husband's picture inside a rat and then making the rat run at a certain distance on a full moon, and then it has to fall into a sewage, and then in order for it to work, I woke up the next day and I couldn't speak whatsoever.
Wow. For the whole day?
No, for like a whole month straight. I wasn't able to speak.
Hello to you, dear fans and listeners from beyond time and space borders, and welcome to yet another belief shattering, perspective changing, and truly inspiring conversation. Today, we are fortunate to have Amal share her story with us. This interview has been a long time in the making because our guest today requested to do it at our very first meeting. Until now, I still remember exactly what she said back then. It's because I know there are many people, especially women, who are in a similar situation, going through similar challenges, and I would like to do my part to help them, so we sincerely hope that is accomplished today. Amal is a young Middle Eastern woman living in the United States. She's been through ups and downs throughout her life, but I will let her tell her own story. First off, Amal, I want to thank you personally and on behalf of all our listeners for coming out to share with us your story today. We're going to dive right into the questions. So, first question, Amal, what can you tell us about your life, your childhood, your teenage years, and any significant supernatural events that marked you? Because, as I understand it, you've been facing some significant blockages, challenges throughout your whole life. So, please tell us and start wherever you want to start.
I would like to start off by saying that my whole entire childhood was based off of abuse. Lots of supernatural events happened to me, and I didn't even know why at such a young age. I would say basically when I was first born, because that's how it felt to me, at least. And during that time, I grew up thinking that this is how, like, being born into a Muslim family would feel like or be like. So at a very young age, I was very skeptical of my surroundings and questioning everything because I knew something wasn't right. And it kept on going as a patterns. And then when I reached the age where I was like 15, I got married, thinking that it would go away, but
Mm.
it didn't. It just kept on going and going. As I was younger, things used to happen to me. For example, I would be asleep and then I would wake up at certain times of the day, like at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 2 o'clock, sometimes all the time. And then I wouldn't be able to move. And there was this one time it was so severe that I woke up the next day and I couldn't speak whatsoever.
Wow. For the whole day?
No, for the whole month straight. I wasn't able to speak.
So, for a whole month, you were not able to speak after an episode of sleep paralysis, correct?
Exactly, correct.
And how old were you at that age?
I would think I was about 7 or 8 years old, and I still remember
7.
it vividly. And I couldn't explain why. I had my aunts and my cousins teach me how to talk again and how to use my hands to like speak and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, I got my voice back. I'm telling you,
Subhanallah.
like things were happening to me at a younger age, and I had no idea why. And then I would wake up from my dream and I would think that I was awake, but I was not awake. I don't know how to explain it to you. And I kept that away from our original meeting, and I didn't tell you when we first talked about everything that was going on. For some reason, I didn't go into detail that much, but there was a
Hmm.
lot of weird supernatural things that were happening to me. And then as I got older, I would say 13, 14, 15, I would start to see like shadows. And then I would start to hear my mom or my dad call me when I would go up to them and be like, hey, did you call me? They're like, no, I didn't call you. Being Middle Eastern, our culture would say that it's all in our head, you're making things up, you just want attention, but it was not in my head. I would have my clothes ready in the morning to get ready to go to school, and then I would wake up and they would be missing. Not a complete outfit, but like some things that I would need to get ready would go missing.
Mm.
And I would look
Yeah.
everywhere for them. I would look everywhere for them, and I wouldn't be able to find them. That was my childhood. Aside from being like abused from my dad, I got sexually abused from family members, and then the constant feeling of not wanting to live, suicidal thoughts, the feeling of not belong. People would just not want to hang out with me, not want to be my friend. I grew up, I got married, and then I thought it was like gonna change. I thought it was like my family. I thought my family was causing me all that. It didn't
Yeah.
get better, it
Mm.
actually got worse. And during that time, I was thinking, okay, something isn't right. And I ignored it for such a long time because, as I said, being Middle Eastern and our culture would gaslight us into thinking it's all in our head.
If I may take the time, basically, that is actually the main reason that we had to change your voice and, of course, change your name. You're in a predominantly Muslim based locality, you would say. And we know us Arabs and Muslims, people love to talk and word gets around fast. So that's why we want to protect your identity in this case, and mostly your sanity, but also so you can feel comfortable telling people the truth about what you've been going through, because you are one, sad to say, in a million or even 10 million. We don't know how many people on the planet are going through similar things, and this is something that unfortunately it goes unchecked. We as Muslims and Arabs, we have a reputation that we're too superstitious, but in your case, we're seeing someone who is born in a Muslim country, but even though you're exhibiting all the signs of someone who's having spiritual issues, your family is dismissing it and telling you that you're just looking for attention or just acting a certain way. Objectively speaking, who'd unlearn speaking for a whole month just to seek attention? It doesn't make sense to me. And I don't think it made sense to you as a
Exactly.
7 or 8 year old. What kind
Exactly.
of idea is that? You'd have to be very much into your character. And yes, we can chalk it up to mental stuff and coping mechanisms and so on and so forth. But this is something that even the most competent and knowledgeable psychiatrist is going to have a hard time to explain. And the clothing that you mentioned, that you have your whole outfit ready and you need something specific, and that item, the jinns know that item is important, and it's just to make you go nuts. They do it once, twice, or three times. It won't take a long time before your family starts to think you're crazy.
Exactly.
And when you mention like this has been ongoing, and at some point, even you were not thinking like, oh, I have some jinn issue. Even you bought into it. You're like, this is maybe part of the trauma that I've lived, the abuse that I've endured. Let me get married.
Yes,
Maybe things will get better if I get away from them. But things got even worse.
exactly.
Are you willing to share a little bit about how things got even worse for you after you got married?
Yes. So as you said, I was like manipulated. Everything I would say it would be shut down. Like everything I would experience, it would be like all my head. It would be like
Mm.
you just want attention. You just want people to feel sorry for you. You just want to be rebellious because everything that I was going through was driving me crazy. And it was like making me want to do things that I didn't want to do. When I got married, I became more suicidal. And
Wow.
it wasn't because what I was going through. It wasn't because of the problems that I was going through. I would write my suicide letter, and then something inside me would be just like, stop, no, just stop. And then I would like throw it in the trash. And then the next day I would rewrite it again and throw it away. And then a voice inside me would tell me, throw it away. And then the next day, and then the person that I'm married to all of a sudden started to have money problems. As soon as he married me,
Hmm.
like when we got married, he had a job, he was fine, he was okay. And then when we got married, this guy all of a sudden stops working and then ends up being broke, asking his family for money all the time. And we would
Wow.
have like severe problems. And yeah, he would tell me that he would love me, he would love me, he would tell me he loved me today. And then the next day, he would tell me that he couldn't stand me. And it was like on and off, on and off, on and off. It drove me crazy.
Let's not forget, you're young. You're 15 in this case, right? You're not
Yeah.
fully grown up. You're not fully developed. You don't have like tons of relationship experience. You want a certain degree of stability. You're in a relationship with this person. You don't feel like they're going to throw you away the next day or when they love you or when they don't.
Yeah. And here's where it gets dark. Okay, here's where it gets, I would say, the most scariest experience in my life. Okay. And this is why I say that it follows you everywhere. I'm speaking my story, but I also want women that wear the same shoes as me to understand and to wake up, because it really follows you. It doesn't stop following. Since I was young, I knew that something wasn't right. I knew that something was wrong with me. I knew that there's like something that I can't explain. When I did get married and got into a family that was heavily involved in black magic and cursing people, let's say that something didn't go their way, they would go ahead and mix up some black magic, put it together, and then make that person do whatever they wanted to do. And when I speak about this, I want my story to be heard, because I feel like these people and a lot of people like them have ruined many lives, and people just have no idea. You can come across someone that is your friend for a while, and then you say something or do something that they don't like, and then boom, your whole life is ruined. Because the people that I lived with, this is what they used to do.
Coming from a healing perspective, I can totally understand. I deal with this stuff on a daily basis. But a few things that I want to touch on from everything that you shared with us. First of all, the fact that, like you said, ever since a young age, you feel that something is wrong. Because I always tell people the soul knows. But something that
Yeah.
is very important here, I have observed, and not just with women, but men as well, and a close pattern between spiritual afflictions and sexual abuse. And why am I explaining this? Because someone might be going through the same thing, but they don't make sense of it. Like you back in the day. Right? You're like, why is this happening to me? Which is a common question people
Exactly.
ask me. But I'm trying to explain the other side of the spirits. First of all, they will, like you said, tell you to kill yourself every single day. But then they
Yeah.
will go and influence other people. Like you said, like people would not want to be your friend. This is also something that I have seen consistently with people.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking of Jessa, she's like, people would just make up their mind within an hour that they don't like me for no reason at all. Even if you're just sitting there and in silence and you haven't
Yeah.
talked to them. And then if we go to psychology, they're going to say, oh, it's just your subconscious programming and you're projecting and this is,
It's
come on,
not. And I'm tired
absolutely
of
not.
that. It's even
Mm,
doctors. Like, doctors would think that this is some type of disorder when it's not.
yeah.
I'm not gonna sit here and call myself virtuous and stuff like that, but there's many things I refuse to do to people and refuse to do for myself as well, because I know that it goes against God. Time spells, like I've seen real-time rituals being done in front of my face, putting her husband's picture inside a rat and then making the rat run at a certain distance on a full moon, and then it has to fall into a sewage, and then in order for it to work, seeing that just tells me that this is never gonna leave me alone, never ever. I'm always gonna be dragging this kind of energy behind me. I don't wanna marry into this type of people. I
Hmm.
don't.
You were marrying to trying to shake this energy off of you. You were marrying to get out of that situation, but you walk into a worse situation, which brings me back to the point about the doctors. And I've seen it consistently with people that they go looking for a solution, but no one is able to either help them, or sometimes they would get like very discouraging answers. I've had a guy, he has been suffering throughout his whole life. He lost his family, relative, friends, the whole lot, right? And then he went to this sheikh. The sheikh just recited something on him, and he says, no, you have nothing, go away. Nowadays everyone thinks they're sick, but they're not. When you see
Yeah,
this person who has authority, legitimacy, that society tells you this person should help you, and they're honest, but they're not even competent enough to find the issue, so then you're left looking like a crazy person.
I've been in the same exact situation where I went to like multiple studios. I've been there before. Like I've tried to help myself out of the situation multiple times, not once, not twice, multiple times. Like I tried to go to this whatever, and it would only make my situation worse. Okay.
Yeah.
And when I would go back and tell them, when I would go back and be like, hey, I didn't get better, I got worse, they told me that I was making it up. I remember this one time I went to someone about 3 or 4 years ago, okay, because it's like a journey that led me to you. So three,
Mm,
4 years ago, I went to someone and it was like on a Zoom meeting, and I was telling him my symptoms, and he was like telling me, yeah, you have black magic and stuff like that. And then he performed the first session, and he was telling me that I would feel energized or feel happy, but I didn't feel anything. Let me be clear. I did it for the first time, and then the second month I went in and did it again, and he was like asking me how did it go and how, and I'm like, I'm the same. If not, I'm worse. There was this one time he sent me water, and he was like from London, because I couldn't find anybody in my area at all that would do it. And I remember me fainting that day. And then
yeah.
the next day, me and my husband had a huge fight. I went ahead, I called him, and I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. I feel like you're lying to me. I told him that I want to cancel our meetings and he could keep the money, because it was like $200 a session, and that's it.
Wow. Something that I want you to please develop further on is the kind of challenges you were facing, because you mentioned that even your husband, which is in this case by proxy, right? You are dependent on him, on his income.
Yeah.
You said that he had a good, stable job, he had a good income, and then boom, when he gets married with you, he starts to struggle professionally and financially. One day he loves you, one day he doesn't, because all the stuff that you've been dealing with on the personal level, sleep paralysis, the dream state, constant feelings of depression, anxiety, so on and so forth, the high stress, people can say that, oh, it's because you had trauma as a kid and that plays a role in your subconscious mind. But what I tell people is where you have to draw the line is with the external symptoms. Like, how is it that nothing ever works out? How is it that
Exactly.
whenever that I try to make something, do something, I have a project to better my life, make more money, or advance, just succeed, just move forward, grow in my life, it never works out ever, for reasons that are totally outside of your control. Now you have to say, look, is it because of my subconscious program? Let's be real here. So that's what I would like you to develop more on, so people understand and really make the difference between some negative self-talk and subconscious programming, or something that is really out there that has its own agenda, its own sentience, its own consciousness, that is hell-bent on completely screwing up every aspect of your life, be it financial, personal, everything and anything. So could you tell us a little bit more about that, Emil, please?
Okay, the first thing that I want to say, things that were happening to me, even if I were to explain, I feel like people would say that I was crazy. I could not make people understand that something at night was bothering me. I was seeing things in people, and I was having dreams that would come true. I would personally feel that something were to happen, and then it would happen. Just imagine being out of your body and not being able to do anything about it. You don't even know what's going on. You don't know if this is real or if it's not. You don't know if you're gonna go back to the human sensation. I don't. I can't explain it. That's the thing. I still you believe in this, and I can't even explain it to you. I feel like it's hard to explain it to you. Just talking about it makes me feel like I'm crazy right now.
The thing is, the people who are listening to us, there's a strong probability that they needed to hear this, because I believe that nothing happens by chance. And it's the fact that they have clicked on this interview at this very moment is something of a, I would say, a divine intervention. Okay. A lot of the people who are listening to this, then the other people are, maybe they're skeptical, they've never heard of this, or they might look to learn something new. In all cases, I think that they are all open minded to what you have to say. Now, the things that you're facing, I've seen this when it's magic to destroy someone's life, and that includes making them crazy. So the pattern that I've
Yes.
seen, and I remember your result was not just a mess. It's not a jin's touch. It's not some evil entity that is after you. It was magic. And those spirits that do that, guess what? That's their job. They're competent in it. So they have patterns. It's like you go to a company that cleans carpets, they know how to clean carpets. So in this case, Khuddam al-Sihr, the attendants of this type of magic, they know one, two, three, how we're going to make someone crazy. This is definitely something in line with that now. Like you said yourself, this is something that has been ongoing ever since your childhood. But as you got involved with your ex-husband's family, and this is something I want to touch on. For some of these people, it's a way of life. It is a way
Yeah.
of solving and getting anything that you want from anyone that you want. You go, you put in a paper, and it takes too much time to get processed. You do a spell for it. You want your boss
Yeah.
to like
Yeah.
you and like to promote you,
It's a
you do a
lifestyle.
spell for it. Yeah, your husband raised his voice on you. You do a spell on him to make him obey you blindly. But they don't understand, and this is something that I want to bring to light here, that the entities that they deal with end up overtaking them and influencing them. So it creates this vicious circle. First of all, they get addicted to the power when they are really powerless. And it gives them a certain degree of control over their life to influence people, influence their condition, influence this and that. That's the first thing. But the second thing is, over the long run, they start to get run. They don't understand that maybe it's not even their idea to do that spell. Is it okay to bind your husband to the point where he says yes to everything? Anyone in their right mind would be like, I can see how that's wrong.
No, it's not only wrong. For me, it's like beyond evil. I don't
Mm.
care what anybody has to say about this. I don't care if your husband isn't a good person. Just leave that person. You don't need to be with him if he's not treating you right.
This is some very important stuff. And again, you've seen with your own eyes. This is not speculation. Oh, I think my mother-in-law is involved in
No.
magic, or like you
Mm-mm.
have seen it over and over again. But I want to ask you something. Those people who were involved in this, how did they look on the outside? Did they look like good Muslims, people who would get into magic?
Oh,
What is their reputation? What is their outward
let
appearance to
me
society?
let
Would
me
they look like it? Would you guess?
let me tell you something, and may God take away my life. I know you don't need me to say this, not you or anybody.
Hmm.
I don't need to prove
Hmm.
this to anybody.
Hmm.
But I'm a very truthful person. These people were like the Muslims from heaven. The mother-in-law would literally influence her daughter to go ahead and do the spells and whatever. The mother-in-law went to Hajj like 4 or 5 times, and the father is like heavily involved in like charities and heavily involved in the community, and the way he talks, the way he speaks is all about God, and the mother-in-law is all about God. It's like mind blowing. When they first came to ask for my hand, because it was an arranged marriage, okay, it was my mind, and I'm like, okay, so this whole entire time, it was all an act, it was all fake. They probably even did stuff for me to marry their son because my dad did not want me to marry their son because I was like an arranged marriage when the family
Mm.
goes around and asks about the boy, or and then my dad found out that the boy isn't really a good boy, and then my dad was like no, and then next thing you know, my dad says yes, and I got married. This is why I said black magic always follows me, because these people are heavily involved with. Oh, and I have to mention this, okay? Because as I
Please,
said, I want
please.
this interview to be raw and unfiltered, and I don't care if I get in trouble. I know for a fact, because as I said, I've dealt with these people and I've seen them in my eyes. And I said, if I'm lying in this interview one bit, may God punish me. May Allah punish me. They do like menstrual blood in the man's food kind of black magic. And this is
Well,
how dangerous these people are. If people think that this is not real, this happens in normal communities where you're like, okay, these people go to the mosque, but you have no idea what these people are doing. I would have never thought in a million years I would be involved with these type of people. Just imagine period blood food. They mix it up with their husband's food so that their husband can like never look at another woman. No, total domination. It was crazy because I've seen it. And my grandmother and my aunts and stuff like that was also involved in magic. I think that when my family was involved with magic, they didn't know what they were doing. And I feel like whatever they did, it landed on me and my siblings. My siblings are depressed as well. It's not me that's going through it. I feel like my siblings are going through it as well. But even now, when I try to help them and I'm like, hey, I found someone that can help you, they're like, no, I don't want to get into that. It's magic. I'm like, no, it's not magic. He's not taking away what you're going through with magic and stuff like that. It's a different process. Just my brother wanted to kill himself just like last month. He was like, I don't
oh,
know what's wrong with me. And the thing is I know it's because it was like a failed ritual, and then whatever spiritual entity came towards us instead of the person that was intended to.
the problem is, and I've seen it also in similar cases where the mother or the father or both parents are involved in magic, and then the children suffer for it, even though they have never lit a candle or done anything in their lives. It's because the spirits that are there, they're not good, and
Yeah.
they might do the job for the person who called them, but on their free time, they're creating other problems. Now, looking back, do you think that this whole arranged marriage, this whole ordeal, this whole situation would have been provoked and orchestrated by the jinns who were afflicting you in the first place?
I believe in that 100%. I believe that everything that has happened to me, every blockage, every delay, everything was because of the jinns. I really, with all my heart, think that and feel that because I've only had two serious relationships in my life because none of the relationships ever worked for me. Every relationship that I was in was the same thing. This can't be real. Even when I
Yeah.
got married the second time, it was the same thing. I hated him and I couldn't stand him whatsoever. I hated his guts. I hated looking at him. I wanted a divorce 24/7, but I was still there. I know it doesn't make sense, but I feel like your true self is always going to be there and it's always going to stop you from doing something. But before I met you and before I went through the healing process, oh my God, I want to cry because I wasted half of my marriage hating my husband. And I traumatized my husband as well. I made him depressed and he's recovering. He's more happier than he was a year ago. Not a year ago, like a few months ago. And since from then until now, he's been like questioning if I'm going to go back to how I was before. He's like on
Mashallah.
edge and I feel so bad because I don't know why I was the way that I was. And I feel so happy that I have to deal with this feeling no more. It was taking a toll on me. It controlled my life. Just that small feeling, just imagine. I had so many other problems, but just that with my husband, it took years out of my life. I'm just so thankful and grateful. And I'm saying, alhamdulillah, like my husband is not kissing my feet right now. You didn't do anything. All you did was move. You moved every curse. You moved every blockage, the entities. You didn't make my husband do anything. We're living a normal life. There's people that will say that's what we're doing is wrong. No, it's not. What's wrong is believing that this is it, believing that this is going to be your life forever. And what's wrong is committing suicide because it will lead to that eventually.
I know that feeling. It is the despair, the hopelessness, the sadness. And when you try to fix those every single way that you can, and you can't, then creates this deep anger towards yourself, towards the world, towards your husband, towards every single thing in the world. And
Like,
also misunderstanding, like, why is this happening? And not making sense of it. All these things together, they brew into a cocktail mix of deep hatred and anger towards everything and anything. But I want you to please take us. You started talking about this earlier, the stuff that you have tried. Now you say what we're doing is wrong. And there's always going to be someone who says that what we're doing is wrong, and
always.
we're not
Always.
there to convince those people. What I think
Yeah.
is wrong is charging someone $200 a month for a session of ruqya. Until when? Ad infinitum for the rest of their life? And I know in the UK, this is big business. Ruqya ruqya is big business in the UK for a lot of people,
Yeah.
but not just in the UK. There are people who are making their living off of people suffering and the word of God, and that is wrong. But I want you to tell us a little bit more about the stuff that you tried. So you told me you went into this journey, which ultimately culminated into us.
Let me add another important thing is that I prayed. I prayed since I was about 16 years old. I've never missed prayer. I fast every Ramadan. I've never done zina. I've never done alcohol. I've never done anything. I've never done black magic, as you've mentioned. I've never gotten near these things. When I went ahead and I did the ruqya thing and the raqi, whatever he was thinking that I was rebellious. But in reality, he has no idea who I am. He has no idea that I literally cry to God every single day. I cry to God every single day, waiting for God to like reply back to me, to help me. And I tried my best to understand why this was happening to me. I don't know why I'm getting emotional, but I'm remembering all the times that I was gonna like sorry, but I remember
That's
all the
okay.
times that I was like gonna finish praying and then thinking about killing myself after because I couldn't handle the I'm sorry.
That's okay. Take your time. No worries.
It was extremely hard for me to sit there and hear these Ratis tell me that my iman was low. I prayed every single day in my life. I prayed every single day. I made dua. I did everything that I can to get close to God. And it was not working. That took a toll on me. Just that was like going to lead me away from being Muslim. Because I'm like, if he's thinking that I have low iman and I make dua to Allah, no other than God, every single day I pray, I fast, he's telling me that if this ruqyah doesn't work, then you have low iman and there's nothing wrong with you because it's from the Quran. So there's no way that it wouldn't work on you after the session or after the second session or after the third one. And I've tried all of them, as I said. So after that, I went online and I was searching for someone different, like something else. And I came across this famous guy, supposedly. How I first started was watching his videos because he has a YouTube channel and it has so many subscribers, I'm sorry, and so many likes and comments and stuff. So many. So I was like, okay, he's probably good. So I clicked on one of his videos how to find out if you're cursed or not because I wanted to know what was wrong with me. And then one of his videos was like telling people to write letters and then lick it off your hand. And then if you feel like numb or if you shut down completely, then you're cursed or you have a dark entity connected to you. So I right away did it. I started to feel like a tingling sensation throughout my whole body. And so I went crazy because I was like, okay, how is he lying? So after that, I started to look more into his videos and then more and more. And then I came across another video where he explains how to evoke spirits to help you with whatever that you want. Literally in the video, okay? It can't be that easy. I went ahead and did it, and it was like on a Tuesday or a Wednesday or a Monday. It was one of these days, okay? And he was saying that these spirits are very friendly and they're very nice. They will not ever
Oh,
harm you in any way,
that's
okay?
amazing.
So yeah, I went ahead and I did it. And I was like, please. And he said that once you go numb, then they are there. So you go ahead and ask what you want from them. So I felt numb and then I went ahead and I knew that they were there. And I was like, please help me fix my relationship with my husband because it was bad. And we were on a verge to divorce. So my husband was in the shower and there was nothing wrong with him because he was like in the mood. He was happy. He was taking a shower. And the next thing you know, he comes out of the bathroom and my head hurts so bad right now. And then he lays on the couch and I can see his face. He was like not in the mood. And the next thing you know, he gets sick. For a whole week straight, I didn't know how to help him. I didn't know what to do. And I was praying to God. I'm like, please, God, don't let whatever I did go through. Please, God. Because my husband couldn't stand me. He didn't want to talk to me. He was like sick. I didn't know what to do. I was so scared. And then after a week, everything went back to normal. And that same day that I did the whole thing, the electricity turned off in our house for a whole day. And we couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. We even called the electricity company to come in. They couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. I went ahead, I logged back in a week after because I was like terrified. And I was looking through his videos. The next thing I find him posting separation salesman to separate people. And I'm like, what did I get myself into? Because I don't trust people that do that stuff. I'm not going to go to a practitioner that helps people spiritually that separates people from other people. I'm just not going to do that. So
Mm.
I was like, I cannot believe I didn't do my research before I went ahead and started to experiment with these kind of stuff. I can't believe my mind took me to do these things.
Yeah, I understand, but you can't be so hard on yourself because you were in a very desperate situation. A few things that I want to point out in everything that you just said. First of all, about the rapis, people who are supposed to be upholders and representatives of the faith, right, who will heal people in the name of God, are actually the people who steered you away from the religion. Because
Yes,
I'm praying
they
five
did.
times a day, I'm fasting, I'm doing everything, okay? And it's not because that's been drilled into me or I've been brainwashed into it, it's because I have faith in God. And then you go to this person to justify their incompetence. They tell
Mm-hmm.
you the only way this wouldn't work is because you don't have enough faith. So this way, it's not on them, it's on you automatically. So it's paradoxical there. That's what drove you away from religion. I know that you still believe. I know that you still pray and you believe in God even more than before. But it's what drove you away from seeking that route. So you start seeking the Ruhani stuff. So you're like, okay, I'm going to look for a solution elsewhere, someone who's not going to judge me, but is just going to get the job done because I understand that at some point you got
Yeah,
married, the first one didn't work out, you're like, I want to make this one work. So lo and behold, you go on YouTube, this guy is Arabic, but there are a bunch of
yeah,
them, all sorts of cultures, all sorts of traditions. They have huge followings, they have fans. Wow, this guy is a saint, or this woman is a
yeah,
saint, right? And then you
yeah,
just, and you're like, they're so nice, they're giving all this stuff for free. But in every
yeah.
video there's that WhatsApp number so you can get in touch with them. I'm going to tell you guys right now, okay, you're never going to get any knowledge on YouTube. You're going to get partial knowledge. You're going to get something that is maybe may not work, or you're going to get something that is going to hurt you. So then you have no choice but to get rid of them. And this is a business strategy, guys. There's no free lunch, there's no free meal in this life. It does not exist, especially not in a field as treacherous as in the field of magic. But the problem is, in this case, is that the spirits who are afflicting you, they're there, they're listening. They see every video that you watch, they see every single
Yeah.
person that you follow, and they see the evocation of what you asked for. They say, okay, this person is serious enough that she is willing to work with some spirits to fix her marriage. So that for them is a signal, hey guys, go mess up my husband. So the problem, and that's why I tell people, so you see now you're laughing because it makes so much
Yeah,
sense. So many
it
people who
does.
come to
It
me with a
does.
problem, they say, look, I got blockages, I can't marry anyone. I got blockages, I can't make any money, I can't find work. So in
Mm-hmm.
this case, if you have a spiritual affliction, if you have blockages, you need to get rid of the blockages first. So in this case, this is a perfect example. Headaches. This guy is getting possessed now. Your husband. Oh, she wants to fix her marriage. Guys, attack the husband. Everyone attack the
Yeah,
husband. Now, what did you do? You turned to God and you said, God, please do not let this go through. Do not let it work. Because God tells us in the Quran, in the famous verse about Harut and Marut, that they don't hurt anyone and that it doesn't work, it doesn't succeed unless by his permission. So right away, when you're getting the wrong feeling, you're seeing things going sideways, you turn to God, you say, God, please do not let this go through. Another thing in the same verse is about separation. You're not the first person who mentioned this. Dr. Scott in the previous interview, he mentioned that as well. He says these guys are like white magic, ruhaniyat, theurgy, God, Allah, this
yeah,
and that.
yeah,
But you scroll and you browse and you look a little deeper, and it's separation spell, destruction spell, this and that.
yeah.
Oh, attack this person. Like, what?
Okay, so while I was deep into these videos, when he was
Hmm.
giving those free talismans, he would begin saying, "This is a gift from me to you." And then deep in his videos, he's, "Oh, okay, so I just wanted to make things clear that these are not full. I'm not gonna give the full talisman out just like
Yeah.
that." And I'm like, okay, so this is not the real thing. Then why are people feeling numb? What is this? What's going on? What are you giving out to people? I was extremely mad that day when my husband was feeling all kinds of stuff. He got sick. He was like not in the mood. And I was like, I got so mad at this guy that I wanted to expose him.
We don't need to expose that person specifically, but we do, however, need to raise people's awareness to
Yes.
these content creators and occultists and magicians and whatever on the internet that have, like you said, the appearance of legitimacy. They have all these followers, they have the likes, the comments, this and that. I think right now I'm sitting at less than 700 subscribers. So you would
Yes.
look at me, you're like, ah, this is guy. No, not so
Exactly,
sure, right?
exactly. That's
Yeah,
exactly
I
what I
mean,
thought when I was like scrolling down and looking at your thing. I'm like, okay, he doesn't have a lot of subscribers, so he must
mm-hmm,
have not, his work is not that good. And then
mm-hmm,
in the back of my head, I kept on always going back to your page and looking at it, going back to your page and then exiting out and then going somewhere else. And then it was like a calling.
yeah,
It said that you don't do anything that will go against your ethics, I think it was. That was like the it moment for me. I was like, okay, I really feel comfortable. I feel safe with this man. This guy doesn't secretly have like other spells that will destroy marriages or other wicked things that people do. And I was just like, okay, I have to do this. And then I set up the meeting with you, the diagnosis and stuff like that. And then it just went from there. So it was definitely it was a calling. It was definitely a calling because I kept on going back to your page, back and forth, like thinking about it, and mostly was because of the reviews, the subscribers and the reviews. And this is why I'm making this video. I'm making this interview, and I could risk my own self because I did give specific information on things
mm,
that people can know
mm.
me from. So I'm risking a lot just for other women or other people to wake up. I pray to
I
God.
mean,
I pray to God that this video reaches the right people, the people that have been through so much and they think that they have no way out. I pray to God. I
I
pray with
mean,
all my heart. Every single day, I was up to 3, 4 o'clock in the morning trying to find something that was like that used morals that didn't go against my morals either because I have morals as well. Yeah, so I was on Etsy and your page popped up. I clicked on it and as I said, it didn't have a lot of reviews. It didn't even have a lot of services. It had a few services. So I'm like, okay, I was like skeptical. And then I went ahead and started to dig in, and then I read all the reviews, and then I started to read more, and I went on your like your rules and stuff like that, your policy and stuff, and then I quickly read that, and I'm like, oh my god, wow, yeah, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I want. I want this type of energy. Like I don't want someone that works that says that they do good, but then I read the comments and they're like doing destruction spells, separation spells, and stuff like that. And this is why I want to say, don't be just set on the reviews. Don't be set on just that because the product can be amazing, but it's just not discovered yet. Don't be set on that.
right now you get to the point where we meet, we did the meeting for the spiritual diagnosis, and then after that we found the issue, we were able to pinpoint it. I recommended a treatment protocol. I think it was stage 4 if I remember correctly. So can you tell us a little bit more about that process since we met? Because then it's like uncertainty. Oh, should I go with this guy, should I give it a shot or whatever?
Yeah.
But after that we meet. How did that experience go for you?
The first thing that I liked was the face-to-face meeting because it made me feel like I was secure, like I wasn't just talking to anybody. I felt like it was real. It wasn't like some made-up thing. Okay. The second thing is that you got to the point. You didn't take me here and scare me here because I did have an interview with that guy, the famous YouTuber or whatever. He told me that I was gonna get divorced and if I didn't act right now. You didn't tell me that. You did not threaten me into my life becoming worse if I don't act right now and do work right now. You didn't tell me that. You told me to take my time. If I come back or not, it's up to me. And whenever I felt comfortable, I would reach out and you'll be there to help me to explain how things are. We actually did a diagnosis. You didn't sit there and be like, you need it. I told you what I was experiencing and you rated my symptoms and then you gave me the solution for it. Basically how I would go to a doctor. I would go to the doctor, would write down my symptoms and then tell me what it is that's making me feel the way that I'm feeling. It was just like that. And I felt like that is clear. It's not like deceitful, as I said, where he goes and says, oh, if you don't act now, you're going to get divorced, I promise you. And then threatens you and starts to scare you and starts to fill your head with doubt. And then you be forced to go to him. You were very like open-minded to my situation.
Yeah, definitely. And again, like the purpose of this interview is not to say, oh, you know how great Reddit is, like taking these opportunities to educate people. So that's the stuff that I always try to touch on. First of all, the threats. I've seen this. So they're going to do some half divination, whatever, make you believe like they're getting information from the unseen about you, about your soul, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Then after that, they're gonna do some face. Ooh, like this is serious. The stress is amped up. And then after that, they say, oh, I see nothing good for you. Maybe you're gonna die. That's what they're gonna say.
Yep,
But
yep,
what
yep,
they
yep.
do, they hone in on whatever fear and insecurity you've expressed to them. In your case, it was marriage. Oh, you're gonna get divorced. Wait a second, buddy. You know the future, the thing that God told us that none knows but Him. So right away,
Yeah,
that's sure, right away. So you can't talk about the future. Okay, you don't know. There's no way to know. The jinns don't know. The angels don't know. They know some things, but the stuff that they know, they won't tell you because they're angels. Because I do divination with Gabriel, so I know how it works. So either you don't know and you're lying, or and you're not supposed to, but it's more the first one. And they're, oh, you're never gonna get employed. Oh, I see a bankruptcy for you if you're struggling with money. Whatever your deepest fear is, they're gonna take that and flip it right back on you. And that's how they
yep,
pressure you into acting into whatever, like, oh my god, my life is not doing good now. He says I'm gonna get divorced. What do you want, sir? What do you want? How much do
exactly.
you want? Yeah, let's go,
Exactly.
let's do this. And then these people, when they say the symptoms, they will all mostly say black magic, because black magic
Mm-hmm.
means you have an invisible enemy who is out to get you and is casting spells on you. They're fear
Yeah,
mongering, whereas it's not necessarily magic. It could be a touch, it could be an
be
evil
anything.
entity, it could be a generational
Exactly.
curse, it could be many
Exactly.
things. The
Exactly.
symptoms are the same. So that's why we do the calculations. And then after that's not enough, then I have to confirm. Then we can treat it. But if every single person who came to me, I say, do you have nightmares? Black magic. This is the black magic. No, it's not always black magic. It could be just evil eye. And at the end of the day, I don't sell the treatment. I provide it for the people who need it. Because remember how you were influenced negatively? So
Mm-hmm.
anything I say or do to try to convince you will not work. In
Exactly.
fact, it would be turned upside down to make it seem like I'm not the right person for you. So then, if you're ready right now, let's go. If not, whenever you're ready, I'll be there. Many people, they're like, yeah, I'm not so sure. They go try other people, then they come back, they say, I should have tried with you first. But that's okay. Go try whoever you want to try. Go spend your money. Go chill with your demons. And when you're ready, I'll be right here. But in your case, I remember you're like, I really want to do this. I'm not just letting you hanging. I will come back. And I was like, sure. I don't pay too much. But you're like, no, I swear to you, I'll come back. And I'm like, I, I believe you. And then I don't hold on to it. Like I just dismiss it. I try to be neutral. And then I think it was a month or something, like 2 months later,
Two
you
months
came back.
later, I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
right? You're like, Loretta, let's do this. I was
Yeah.
like, okay. And then I got you started right away. And that's the way to do it. Because at the end of the day, like I told you, it's on God's time, not my time, not your time. So why try to convince someone, oh, this guy tried to sell you? Those things I wanted to touch on. The threats. I have a client of mine. She's in the US. She gets a call every other day from a different guy, different practitioner from Bangladesh, India, the UK, telling her you're going to die.
Yeah.
You're gonna
Oh
die.
my
You're gonna
God. That.
die unless you send money. You're gonna die. You're gonna die unless you send money. You're gonna die. You're gonna die. And she keeps blocking them, and they change numbers, and they call from other numbers. I saved you. If it wasn't for me, you'd be dead already. So
Yeah.
something worth paying attention to, guys. Don't go anywhere and everywhere giving out your information, your date of birth, so on and so forth. People are not your friends. With
Yeah.
that
No.
being said, now we got to the point where you started the treatment. Now, when you did the ruqya, you said things were getting worse. All the stuff that you tried, I would like you to put that in comparison to the purge that I provided you with and put things into perspective for our listeners, please.
Okay, so let me just make it clear that it's different for everybody. For me, it was different because when I heard all these interviews that you did with the people, it wasn't like mine. And I feel like people need to put that in mind. So I'm a housewife. I don't drive. I haven't been out there. I don't have a job. I'm just at home. I need to be very observant of the changes. I can't just sit at home and do nothing and say, oh my God, nothing is changing. Nothing is happening. Okay, I'm very
Mhm.
logical. The first thing that I noticed was that my husband's job started to get better because as soon as we got married, he went into a black hole. He went broke. Like when I say broke, he went broke. And he even mentioned it once we got married, he went broke. And then he was like, oh, I'm just joking. And then I noticed when I did the purge, I would say the first week, my husband got a new job and that just happened so quickly. And then the
No.
second thing that I noticed was the hate that I had for my husband disappeared. It just disappeared.
Mm.
I used to look at my husband and I used to, as I said, I hated everything about him, how he looked, certain things he would say, and I tortured him. I traumatized him in so many ways. He was scared of me. He was like, like walking on eggshells. And he even told me so many times, I walk on eggshells around you. So after a week or two, I look at my husband. I'm like, oh my God, I love you. I wanted to be like more sensitive and caring. And I just wanted to like, just be nice to him, do nice stuff for him. And he started to notice it. We started to enjoy hanging out with each other. We started to like laugh and joke. He would question me. He's, oh, why are you doing this? Are you doing this because I did this for you? Or what's going on? Are you hiding something from me? He'd be like in shock. Like I would look at him and I would like just smile for some reason. I don't know. And he's like, why are you smiling? Are you hiding something from me? What are you hiding? What's going on? And I'm like, what? What's wrong with you? I'm just looking
He's
at you because
traumatized. He really is traumatized.
I was like, I'm just looking at you because I think you're cute. What's wrong with you? And he's no, you're just acting weird. You're acting different. He was being very sensitive and emotional. And he's like, I really want this to be that way. I want this to stay like this. And I'm like thinking in the back of my head, I'm like, this is the second thing that I've noticed about courage is that my relationship with my husband is now normal. The third thing that I've noticed within the same week that I noticed my relationship was getting better was that I was not angry anymore because I had a very vicious cycle of hating women for some reason. I hated any woman that came my way. I would rather bury myself than be a friend with a woman. I don't know why. I had no hate for nobody. I became so friendly. I felt so calm. I didn't have to fight that voice in my head that told me that I wasn't good enough, that I should hate this woman, that whatever it was. Like I can't even remember what the voices were, but everything that was inside me went away. It disappeared. And then the fourth thing that I did notice was that I started to be more positive. I started to wake up in the morning and I'm like, I have happiness. I would wake up in the morning and I would enjoy my morning. I would like get ready to start my morning, get ready to go ahead and work out, get ready to do stuff. And I'm like, what is this coming from? I'm like really scared because I was like, I don't want this to go away. And I was like so scared and so paranoid that this feeling, this happiness, whatever I was having would go away because of a
No, I
mistake that
understand.
there was a lot of positive, beautiful changes. I just felt beautiful. Like I felt inside me felt beautiful. I felt calm. There was no more voices. There was no more just to kill myself. There was no more like hate towards my husband. There was no more hate towards women. This is how I felt. This was a process.
And it is a process, and you're absolutely right. It's different for everyone because everyone has a different problem. All three interviews by chance, it's mess. It's a jin's touch. But in your case, it's
Yeah.
magic, and it's a very powerful magic.
Yeah.
So they had their own struggles, but you, it's like this jinn is specialized in destroying lives. So that's what you were dealing
Yes.
with. That's why it's a little bit more intense. However, it takes
Yeah.
nothing away from their own suffering. So that's why it's different for everyone. But in this case, something that is across the board, people would start to feel it in their thoughts and in their emotions. They would feel this sense of calm and peace. Even after the first day of the
Yes.
purge,
Yeah.
they would feel that. In your case, within a week, your husband is doing better. Now, that was a pattern for you. That was
Yes.
a pattern for
Yes.
you that
Yep.
and you start to feel like, oh my God, I'm like this bad luck charm. Whichever man's gonna
Yes.
marry me, their life is gonna go down the drain. And there's like evidence. You're like, he was doing good, but since he married me,
Yeah.
he's down in the gutter. So
Mhm.
1 week he gets another job. Then the hate,
Yeah.
this hate that was inside of you. Now you realize that this is not you. It's like this treatment is so powerful. It takes away so many things that you
Mhm.
can rediscover yourself. And I've seen this happen over and over again. Right now, even when you're describing it, I can feel the happiness in your voice
Yep.
that you're like, man, I wake up in the morning and I'm so
Yeah.
pumped. I'm so happy to be alive.
So
Whereas before, I want to kill myself. Not another
yep.
day. When is this gonna end?
And it's
God, take
not
my life,
depression. Yeah, and it's not depression. It's not anything like that. It was a real thing. Yeah.
Depression, come on. Okay, here's the thing. Okay, right now, I'll be honest with you, it's close to 200 people who've been through this treatment. If it was a placebo, it would not work for every single one of them.
Exactly.
That's the thing. Why are they giving pills to people? You're just gonna wash yourself, do this purge, and then all of a sudden, no more hate, no more anxiety, no more depression. Then you understand that the spiritual has a
Oh,
deep
and
and tangible impact on our mental and emotional state.
exactly. And not only that, but another thing is the shadows that I used to see before I did the purge. As I said, everybody that knows me knows that I do not lie and I do not over exaggerate. I had an encounter of a black shadow figure that scared the living hell out of me. I was trying to get into bed and sleep, and it was like at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I could not sleep whatsoever. I had insomnia
Wow.
for the longest time I can ever remember. So why did that thing go away? It's just stopped completely. It disappeared. That thing went away. It terrified me to see a shadow figure all of a sudden pop out of nowhere and just go away so quickly.
Probably what you're experiencing also is feelings of being watched when you turn the lights off to go to bed.
Yes,
Feelings
yes.
of being followed if you're walking around, even in the street, you always feel that there's someone behind you. I remember that you had premonitions, you were being woken every single night, multiple times during the night. Even just the sleep deprivation is enough
Mhm.
to completely mess someone's life up. But couple that with the hate, the people who are really dismissive. I tell people, look, when you're facing these kinds of issues, it doesn't mean that there's black magic. Go see the normal solutions. But at some point, and as I said earlier during the interview, where you have to draw the line is the external stuff. Maybe you
Mhm.
are in your mind, you're in your head, and you're feeling sad and you're low. Okay. But why doesn't anything ever work out for me? It's not because of positive or negative
I
thinking.
wanted to ask something really quick. There's people that hire people to act on TV or act on a show that, hey, I'm gonna put my hand on you. When I put my hand on you, fall on the floor and start shaking and say that you feel better now. And then it all went away. And so when real people are going through this, experiencing these in real life, and since they were little, they've never had a normal life, they're like, okay, no, we don't believe you. This is all an act. This is all for attention. Let me make something very clear. The amount of times that I was like physically abused, I can count how many times that I almost died because of how bad I was beaten up by a single person. Okay, I was beaten up
Wow.
every single day. Yeah, this is not funny. And that person, when he used to be triggered, was for no reason. The same thing that would happen to my husband when I'm like looking at my husband and I'm like, I hate you for no reason. Like he would say something and we would fight for it. That the same thing that person would do. Like I would, for example, laugh and that person, I don't want to mention their name or say who they are. They would get up and they would beat the crap out of me to the point where I would faint and I would have my eyes black and I'm bleeding.
Wow.
And I was little. I don't want to talk. I don't want to get in deep into it because it is an emotional
I
state.
understand.
But
I understand. But I think the main point that you're trying to convey here is that all these deceivers and fakers who are putting on these shows, they are taking away from the
from
veracity
the
of
real,
what,
exactly.
yeah,
And
exactly, from the truth of what people are actually living, to the
all
point where if someone, let's say like a family member, sees that with you on TV and they say this person's faking, if you have a similar situation or something similar happens, they say, oh, she saw it on TV, that's how she got it, and she's
exactly,
faking as well.
exactly,
So I totally understand. I cannot imagine how hard that could have been for you, because as a child you're looking to play, you're looking to have fun, you're not there like looking, oh, what can I do to get my parents' attention? Look, for us immigrants, there's no attention from our parents. You only get attention when you're gonna get beat up, right? All this to say, you had better things to do with your mental energy. And something important that you bring up here, look, these people, they're really into their craft. And I'm talking about cinema, and I'm talking about deep fake production. I've seen it not just in the case of healing, I've seen it if people will, like, they're gonna bring this guy and he's gonna pretend that
yeah,
he's evoking a jinn inside of him. He's gonna say, oh, move
yeah,
your hands, do this, do that. And then they go into this whole conversation. It's all BS
yes,
upon
I've seen
BS. And I guess it works. I'll be honest with you. If they're all doing it and they keep doing it, it's because I guess it works. Ultimately, I think the cure to that, or the solution to that, is that we listen to the inner voice, like you said before. I think that
yes,
inner voice really is there to keep us out of trouble, and it's not always ours. Most of the time, is the guardian
yeah,
angel is trying to guide us to the right path, the right thing that is going to solve this problem for us. And many times over, when someone gets scammed or like they get taken for a ride, when they think back, they're like, that should have been the red flag for me. I should have seen this coming, but I overlooked it. I went past it because, again,
exactly,
you're being played. When you do the purge, and that's why I support people throughout its entire duration. When you're doing something good, they're not going to make it easy. They're going to double their attacks. They're going to intimidate you, try to make just lose faith or make you think that it's not going to work, whatever. And that's why I'm there to help people through it and keep encouraging them until we get to the finish line together. Because at the end of the day, for every single person that goes through it is good for me, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, thank you, God, just another person that we
Yes.
were able to heal and help them change their life. Because the things that you mentioned, what price can be put on that? What price can be put on a happier marriage, a better income
There's
for
no
your
price. There's
peace
no
within
price.
the household, being able to sleep at night peacefully and wake up peacefully and start the day
Yes.
in
Yes.
joy and happiness? What is the price on that?
Yes. There's
None.
no price on it. No
Priceless.
price. It's priceless.
It's priceless. So, and now you're healed by God's grace and mercy. All praise and gratitude to Him. All credit to His mighty
Alhamdulillah.
spirits that have been helping us.
Yes.
Alhamdulillah. Really, because look, I'll be honest with you, it's not the same for everyone. People do magic, they do all sorts of stuff, but it's always temporary. Even ruqya, it's always temporary. If it works. In your case, the jinn was like, you want to read some
Yeah.
more? Want me to help you? And it happens. That's when the jinn is really powerful. You're not even getting close to the surface. And it's not your iman, it's that
Hmm.
raqi's iman.
Exactly.
Not on you, it's on them. So, with that being said, after you've been healed, this is a repetitive pattern that I've seen. Like people, when they really go through the purge and they're like, okay, this guy really knows something, he's competent, he can do stuff. But also the trust is there, it's established. I'm not one person in front of the camera and another person behind closed doors. You
Yes.
ask me for other stuff. It's
Yes.
self confidence, is like the quality of all qualities, because
Yes.
we are all uncertain. Life is uncertain, but having that self confidence in every single project, endeavor, anything you want to do to grow and be more fulfilled as a person, you need self confidence to take that first step. And unsurprisingly, with all the mental abuse that you've been through throughout your whole life,
Yeah.
where people telling you you're crazy, you're doing this to get attention, you're just depressed or mentally ill or unstable,
Yes.
and this and that, that's going to take
Yes.
a toll. And
It
this
is.
has been
Yeah.
ongoing ever since your childhood till now. It's the first time that someone after a purge says, I want self confidence. So, can you please tell us why that was a priority for you?
It was a priority for me because, first of all, my whole life, I was trapped in the house, not allowed to do anything. Everything that I wanted to do was blocked. I had no experience talking to people. I have no experience, not even in relationship, okay? I had no experience in jobs and like normal things that people do. I have no experience whatsoever. I've been locked away in the house all my life, and I'm not even kidding about that. Even my speech has been altered in some kind of way that when I talk, I would not make sense. And the thing is, when I'm by myself and I'm alone, I know how to talk. But for some reason, when I speak to people and I have no confidence, I don't make sense when I talk. I'm like worried. I have fear. I have anxiety. Even with the purge, because I don't have experience in anything.
Yeah,
Like I have never been out there, and I can't just sit there and think that okay, I've done the purge, that's it. My whole entire life is gonna change from here now on without even trying, without even doing anything, because I feel like that's not how it works. Okay, I have to get out there, experience things. I have to like be on my own, just be a normal human being and do things and work hard for the things that I want. You know what I mean? So I
definitely.
felt like the confidence was something that I was missing because I knew that even after the purge, I lacked it. Like I just lacked it. I lacked it with a lot of things. I lacked it with I was trying to like I'm not gonna mention that because I always like talk about it with everybody. It's me. I am a hardworking person, but I never got a chance to because of the
Hmm.
confidence that I lacked. I never got a chance. And I went to job interviews and I was like I never got a call back. I went to dumb things to help me make my life better, and I never got a chance. I was always blocked from doing so.
Hmm.
And as I said, that played a huge toll on me. It ran over so many times. Like me not being able to communicate with people, not being able to say the right things when I know I'm capable of doing it, but I just couldn't for some reason. And I felt regardless if now, like regardless if doing the purge, like or not, I'm gonna need it. Like you understand what I mean? I feel like my whole life has been that way. So regardless if I do the purge, I'm still gonna lack the confidence. It's just not there because I don't have any experience. I have no experience in life. That's what I'm trying to say. See, I
But
don't even make sense right now. Like I'm
no,
trying to
it
make
makes
sense,
no, it makes
but
absolute sense. No, it makes absolute sense because you've been, like you said, first of all, I can tell you, okay, I can tell you from my experience is that the jinns definitely had a role in you being locked up and locked away your entire life. Okay, that's the first
yeah.
things first. And then, but
Hmm.
if you look bigger picture, okay, and also it's not because you love this life of being locked away at home, right? It's because you didn't have a choice and you had no way of getting out of it.
I had no choice. Yeah, I
And
had no choice whatsoever.
now, subhanAllah, that you're healed and that mental prison has been, you're free
Lifted.
from it, you're free
Yeah,
from that
I'm
mental
free.
prison. Not only do
Mhm.
you know that you're going to get outside and be in the world and move on and take your life to another level, but you already know the tools that you need for doing so in a better
Or
way and
doing
a much quicker,
exactly,
and it's confidence.
exactly. You spoke it the way that I wanted to. But as I said,
Hmm.
since I don't have the confidence, I don't even make sense when I talk. But thank you. This is
No, you
exactly what I
do.
wanted
No,
to.
you do. And I'm
Yeah.
telling you, it's very clear to me, like when you're talking to me. So don't worry about making sense. If someone doesn't
Okay.
understand, it's because it's their problem, it's not you. But
Okay.
all the confidence is something that underlies every single thing that we do. It's you're gonna open a door, well, you're confident that the door is gonna open. You want to
Yes.
cross the street, you're confident that you cross at the right time so no car runs you over. You go into an interview, you're going to get a job, you want to apply for something, you want to start something, you want to get studying, you want even just answering a question on an exam. When you leave the answer, you're confident that
Yes.
it's the right answer. Confidence people do not understand its importance, and in your case you were very quick to pick up on it. And when you, a lot of times when they interview like the most successful people on the planet, like entrepreneurs, whatever, they're going to tell them like, hey, what do you think people need? They're going to say confidence. So it's not by chance. Now, you explained to us why it was important to you, but here's where it gets a little bit funny and paradoxical. So you spend
Mhm.
all this time, all this effort, all this trouble getting rid of jinns, right? They're evil jinns,
Yeah.
they're shayateen, satanic
Yes.
entities, demons, whatever you want to call them, whatever they call them in your corner of the world, that's what they are. They're
Yes.
jinns for us. And now you're like, hey, let's do this thing with jinns. You go full
No.
circle. But I want
Mhm.
you, because obviously I'm sure you're not really confident about it, right? See what I did there?
Mhm.
So you're like, okay, we did a consultation. I made you some recommendations. Then we made the pact. Yes, it is a pact, guys. It's just an agreement. There's no soul selling right here. There are no animal
Mhm.
sacrifices or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just an agreement between two parties. So that's what I do. But I want you to tell us a little bit more about that process of, okay, now I'm healed. Now I'm going to start working on my life, and I'm going to do it working with Reda and, with the jinns that he works with, who are, by the way, in this case, Aferit. We know what it means. Many people, it's for them, it's a negative term. They think that Ifrit is it's shaitan. It's a very no.
Mhm.
Ifrit can be Muslim, it can be Christian, it can be Jewish, it can be Buddhi, it could be anything. It's just a level of power, but not. I want you to tell us a little bit about that process. How did it go for you? You had questions. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, as I said, I had questions, and I feel like from the beginning, I told you that. So while I was doing the purge, I told you that I wanted to work on something else. Like
Hmm.
it was always in my mind. Okay, so we went ahead and we did the interview again, face to face. I told you exactly what I wanted, and it was like it wasn't really much work on my end. I felt like it wasn't like wasn't like do this and do that and give me this and give me that, as you mentioned,
Yes.
yeah, and stop, send me this in the mail and then whatever, because you know so it was like you sent me the thing, and I'm not gonna really talk about it, but
Yeah,
after
yeah, yeah,
that,
yeah.
after it happened, I definitely felt something. Like there's a lot of things that changed. I started to do things differently, And we just started this, by the way. It hasn't been like 2 or 3 months since we started this. So it's oh, and let me mention, I'm still in the house. Okay, I still haven't. I'm working
Yeah,
towards the thing that I
yeah.
want. Yeah. So I'm still in the house. I really feel like people should understand that. Like you still have to understand that if
Nothing
you do
changed. Your environment's still the
exactly,
same, still interacting with the same
exactly,
people, having the same
exactly.
routine, daily routine
Yeah,
with your husband. And you've so that's the definition of a controlled experiment, is that you don't change anything, you change one variable, in this case, the magic, right? The work that we've done,
yeah,
the
exactly.
pact, the only thing that's changed, but you're still the same ML doing the same things day in, day out. So yeah, that's very
Exactly.
important. Good on you for mentioning it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it's not like I did it and then the next day or the next week I became famous. Like it's not, that's not how it is. But I do notice 100%. I did notice that I am very, my actions are different. Like
Mm.
right off the bat, even my husband notices these little like gestures that I do that I do before. Like I couldn't keep eye contact with my husband whatsoever, whatsoever. And I'm telling you, like this is
Wow.
not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence, and it's not in my head. I could not keep eye contact for the life of me. I like turn, I would look away, look down, because I would
Mm.
like have lack confidence. When I feel like people that keep eye contact are very confident and they're very like dominant. I don't want to be dominant, but
Yeah, I understand what you mean.
they
They're
put something
assertive. They're assertive
assertive.
of their
Yeah,
personality, of their own self.
yeah.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, even for example, when I wake up in the morning, I would do things that would make me think, yeah, yeah. Like how do I stay down? Because I know that if I do this is the only thing that I. So after the whole thing, after the whole process, I'm like, no, let me do this because I know I can do this. You know what I mean? Instead of me doing this, let me go that way because I know I can do it. You know what I mean?
That's
Like
the
I
definition
know
of confidence right there.
exactly. I'm not gonna settle for this dress, for example, because a lot of times I'm trying to like go out and do an interview or something. I would put on something
Mm.
because I know that this is what I this is what I deserve or whatever. I know that
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see what
this
you
me.
mean.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
what do you like? No, I'm just gonna put that on. I look good in this. Why not? I just wear this. I've noticed the hype inside me. I'm very hyped and doing things that I usually don't do. And I feel like that's the first thing that I notice since I'm always in the house. Because as I said, I still have plans and I'm going for it. But for now, as a start, I'm noticing a lot
Inshallah.
of my thoughts being like hyped into doing things that I normally don't do. You know what I mean? And another thing was that when I was like called to cleanse the house, okay, there was like a strong urge for me to cleanse the house. And when I cleansed it, I found like old work that as I said before, when I did work and I even sent you the picture, I'm like,
Yes.
hey,
Yes.
I have this thing and I don't know what to do with it because I had an urge to like deep clean the house and what am I supposed to do with this? You told me how to like what to do with it. So then before I even thought of talking to you, I wanted to stage the house. And then next thing you know, I picked up the thing and something told me no, don't put it down and give it away. Something literally
Mm.
told me give it away. And I'm not even kidding. And then when I texted you, I said, hey, I need help. Should I do sage?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
I
you're
remember that. Yeah.
yeah, remember? So,
Oh
so
yeah.
there's like a significant change in my attitude mostly, and the way I think, and the way that I hype myself. Like I'm my own hype person, you know?
Definitely. And you are your best fan, right? You are your
Yeah,
best fan. But the thing is, a few things here that are important, I think, to point out. First of all, you take care of the house. You clean your house on a regular basis. But in this
yeah,
case, you found the stuff that you needed to find. So you were guided there. No questions,
yes,
no,
yeah,
no doubt about that. And then
yeah,
even when you touch it, they're like, nope, don't touch it because they see the energy. They know what's in it. They know what's attractive. So when they get there, my stuff is programmed in a way that any obstacles, anything that goes against my work has to get removed. So when they go, they come in. I mean, you've already been purged, so you have nothing on you, but that was the little thing that was in the house. You had to get rid of it. And I told you how to
get
dispose of
rid
it.
of
And
it.
alhamdulillah, that was very important. Now, you say that You feel all these changes inside of you, and it's difficult to quantify confidence. But I want to ask you, confidence is a byproduct of good self-esteem and
Mm-hmm.
high self-worth. Would you say that these two things, which are very important for any human being, have increased for you because you say, you know what, I'm worth this dress, I look better in this dress, I'm
Yes.
worth doing this, I'm capable of doing this?
Yep.
So do you think
Yep.
that your self-worth and self-esteem have increased? And mind you, you're now what, this is the third week, I think.
Yeah, I think it's like the third
And so it's
week,
only
and
three
I
weeks,
think
right?
yes. And well, and let
Mm.
me say one thing that I know for not coincidence. And when I say this, it's even it has nothing to do with science either. I have a condition eh, that everybody knows about, everybody in my community knows about, that it's extremely hard for me to lose weight. Okay, I don't know how to explain it, but I swear to you, it's not easy for me to lose weight. I just want people to believe that. Because I have conditions, and it's not only that one thing, multiple. And I lost
Mm.
weight, I lost 5 pounds in a week. And that is something that I was going crazy over because it increased my confidence. Because when I looked at myself in the mirror while like trying clothes on, something changed. Like I look so much better. I'm like, I lost weight and it's not a coincidence because it's no way. I've tried, okay, this condition has nothing to do with magic and all that. It's just me. It's my condition. It's what I have. This is something that I've tried to do for years and has never worked. I can't really lose weight easily. It will take me at least 34 months to lose 5 pounds. And I lost 5 pounds in a week or a week and a half, say 2 weeks. So that's how I want to add that too.
That's amazing
It
because,
is
and you did mention that you were exercising, you work out, you
every
weren't
single day.
getting these results. And I think that the gins in this case, they saw that it was something that would bring you confidence. So they're not there,
Yeah,
like their first mission is not making you lose weight. But if you get
exactly.
that 5 pounds and it makes you feel a certain way, then that's on top. That's an extra. And it's important to know that you are not just sitting on your butt all day long
Doing
watching
nothing.
TV. You're busy, you're working hard, you're taking care of the house, and you're working out. You live an active lifestyle. Okay?
Exactly.
Because no matter what, all the magic in the world does not replace action. This is something that I always make sure to stress to people. If you want something, go for it. Do everything in your power, and it will happen faster, easier with magic. But if you don't
Exactly.
do anything, I don't care how powerful the entity is, I don't care how powerful the work is, nothing is going to happen. That is a guarantee. Okay? So
Exactly.
I appreciate you mentioning that because it is an actual physical result. It is measurable in this case, which is very difficult to measure these things. And also,
Yep.
you can compare to, like you said, losing 5 pounds would have been 4 months, 4 months of hell, not just working out, dieting and being controlling
And working
everything.
out.
Yeah, exactly. It's not easy. It's not easy. And I know the condition that you have. We're not going to mention it
Yes.
to keep it private for your sake, but
Yes.
I totally understand. And I know people suffer from it. So, yeah, it is not easy. It plays a part on everything from your sleep,
Yeah.
digestion, all everything. Now, I want to ask you something, okay? This experience that obviously you come from a Muslim background, right? Very like traditional, and you probably had your concerns and uncertainties towards jinns and just outright fear because of everything that
Yeah.
they put you through in the past. But since
Yes.
starting this pact for 3 weeks now, I think by now you would know if there was anything satanic, anything evil, anything negative, just from the experience that you have experience in this domain. So how is your perception, and what many people who might be listening to this interview, how is that perception versus reality when you have these spirits with you and working with you and helping you and influencing people around you? How does that compare?
Okay, so the first thing that I want to mention about the comparing and how it is with me and stuff is that I've never ever felt that I was threatened in any way. Okay, and
Mm.
I've always
Okay.
felt safe in their presence. I always had a feeling that when I would want to, because I know you mentioned that when they do need to get my attention, they would like make me feel, or a thought would be raced. I would have racing thoughts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think I would just know, and I would feel safe. I wouldn't feel threatened. I wouldn't feel like terrified. My heart wouldn't like, I wouldn't have like heart palpitations or whatever I used to have when I used to get scared and stuff like that. It wasn't anything to be scared of. It's not like the sacrifice that people think it is. You didn't make me, like, you didn't tell me, hey, this is what you have to do to in
Yeah.
order
I'm gonna
for
need
this
a
to
I'm
work.
gonna need a vial of your blood and your menses and
Yeah, there wasn't any trading. Like there wasn't any sacrifice that went on when we did the pact. And I felt that was something that made me know that this isn't like what people think it is. You know what I mean? Because I know 100%, 100%. I know that the evil entities that people deal with are not good. They would like, oh, hey, okay, send me that person's picture, send me your picture, send me this, send me that, whatever it
Mhm.
is. Okay? And it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that at all. I didn't feel threatened. I didn't notice anything bad happening in the background. It didn't fix a problem and then ruin a different problem. What would people like say, oh, okay, I did this, but then next thing I got fired? Because that's what happens to a lot of people. I know a lot of people that tell me that
Yeah.
they got their husband back, but then they got fired from their job or something bad happened to their child or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like just feeling safe, just feeling okay, just feeling normal, feeling like on like every day, like doing everything that you would do on a daily basis. Nothing out of the usual, nothing out of the ordinary. I'm not sitting here and seeing spirits walking around the house. I'm not seeing like nothing. It's just normal.
And that is music to my ears because the thing is, jinns, let's be honest, all the stuff that we're talking about, the negative experiences you had, those are jinns, right? And
Yes.
now what we're talking about, the positive influence, the positive impact they're having in your life, the improvements that you see in yourself, in others towards you, all this stuff within just 3 weeks. And this
Hmm.
stuff, we have been talking about this, I think, what, 2 weeks ago that you told me that you lost weight or whatever. I don't exactly
Yes.
remember.
Yeah.
By this time, first of all, you would have known if there was something evil or bad or negative. You would have
Exactly.
seen some kind of,
Exactly.
and the fact is, you have that, you know what to look for, you know what to watch out for. But like I told you, it's because jinns have this bad reputation. People, it's so funny. They're gonna say work with demons, which is jinns, but don't work with
Mhm.
jinns because jinns are dangerous and they're unpredictable and they're really dangerous and they have this bad reputation
Yeah.
because jinns are tricksters, and if you don't, yeah, because you don't know what you're doing. That's
Yeah.
why. And why are there, like, aren't they all jinns? No, there are good jinns and bad jinns. Like, there are jinns who are specialized in making people crazy, and there are other jinns who are specialized in helping them attract blessings. In your case, confidence. I've done a bunch of work. I've done work for people who say, you know what, I need self-discipline, and then
Yeah.
we send them some spirits who are going to do that. I've seen people who are like, oh, I need to feel well liked. I need people to like
Mhm.
me. I need people to be open towards me and be amenable to negotiating deals, like businesswomen and businessmen alike. All these kinds of, I need people, I need authority. But they're not seeing shadows. Their husbands and wives are not experiencing intense headaches. They're not having all these negative effects, because this is a question that comes
Exactly.
back a lot. Oh,
Exactly.
is there gonna be some comeback on me and my family? Is there some kind of
Yes.
karmic?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
there some kind of this?
Yeah.
There could be
Exactly.
if you deal with the wrong person. There could be.
Exactly what I said. Like there's some people that would go and then they would work, but then they would like their job, they would lose their job or something would happen to their son. And I'm saying like nothing happened. Everything is normal. Everything is
And
peaceful. I don't feel threatened. I don't feel like I need to run for my life or I wouldn't like I'm not afraid to sleep like how I used to be. I'm afraid to sleep. I'm afraid to be in a space alone in the dark. No, I'm just normal. Like everything's okay. Everything's peaceful.
maybe it's just as if something was feeling confident, right? And this
And
bridges on to my next question,
mhm,
because while we're on the topic of everything that you've explained to me during these past two
Yeah,
weeks, you mentioned something that really perked my ears up. It was, you said, and not exactly in these words, maybe you said, you know what, Retta, I was just sitting down and there's a thought that came, it was very intense in my mind. You said, you should never mix or seek services elsewhere or from
yeah,
someone else.
yeah.
Can you
Okay.
just explain to us a little bit more about that? Is it something that you were thinking? There's a thought process behind it, or like a revelation that you had? Could you just tell us a little bit more about that and what it means when you say
Okay. So the first day that I started with you, and by the way, I did not have that voice in my head. I did not have that voice before I met you. Okay. I used to think that okay, I'm gonna do work with it and with this person, I'm gonna go to this person and then it'll become stronger and I'll have better results and stuff like that. But then when I did the purge, okay, I was so afraid of doing work with somebody else, and then it would ruin what I had with you. I was so afraid. And I was like, at the same time, I was tempted because I was like, I feel good now. I'm okay now. I'm ready to go. And now that the purge is done and removed the blockages, whatever I'm going to do next is going to work. Because from my experience, I know that if you have a spiritual entity or a block or whatever, you do magic, like work, it's not gonna work. So since I did the purge, I was like, okay, I'm ready to go. I can work with somebody else now. And I was like so tempted. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be honest. I was like scrolling on Etsy and stuff, the place that I found you. Oh no, I can't ruin what I have. I'm not gonna ruin this feeling, my life, my relationship, everything good right now, just for this thing that I want right now. And it was confidence. It was like the thing that I wanted. And I
Mm.
was like, okay, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna go ahead and talk to people, get it out of my system, talk to you and ask you if you can do it for me. And you said yeah. And that's how it was like a voice in me that told me that it was like no, don't ruin it. Don't ruin it, girl. Don't go there. Don't ruin it. Don't ruin it for yourself. You've already been through enough. You don't want to ruin it for you. And then you would have to start all over again.
I totally
So yeah.
know. I know
Yeah.
exactly what you mean because this has happened to other people that I've dealt with and that I've worked with and that I've
Yep.
helped them. And in your case, you're pretty experienced. You have the Muslim background, you have the Middle Eastern background, the Arabic background, like you
Yeah.
understand this stuff.
That
But
that's
yeah, but in some other cultures, people who are not so educated and aware of what's out there and the risks, they deal with me, they're like, wow, Red is a great human being. I think that Arabic people are nice. So then they start to try and mix and match, and they go to this other
it's
guy,
the math.
and
Yeah.
like they will lure you in, like with the Sufism and all God and Allah and this and that, so you feel at ease. You're, wow, it's similar to whatever experience with Retta, but you don't know what these people are doing behind closed doors. And it happened out of those close to 200 people, one person who went and they've just been reeled in. They've just been reeled in by this practitioner into, they've been basically, they made them believe that they were under attack again, and they
Yeah.
started this process with them, and one thing led to another. Lo and behold, we thousands spent, months later, person's life was in shambles. Okay, totally unraveling from every single aspect, from their couple, their work, their personal state, their finances. Every single thing was in a gutter, so that we had to do another purge again. So that's why I'm talking about it, because you said that you might have to do another purge again. Is the first time ever in my time doing this professionally that anyone has ever had to go through the purge again, to the point whereas that other practitioner is not that they're ineffective, it's just they are not what they portray they are. They're not what they
Yep.
portray themselves to be.
Yep.
And people, it is a fact, they don't have your best interests at heart. They have their own self interest at heart. And their interest is in you spending more money with them. So you being healed It's not good for business. But me, the way that I proceed is like, what goes around comes around. You're gonna get healed. If you don't ever deal with me again, that's fine. It's just another person that I got across the finish line. And at the end of the day, God sees everything. If you're doing it unethically, so yeah, I totally understand, because they use these they use these images, they use these words, they use this language that makes you feel at ease. You were tempted, right? Even
Yeah.
with everything
I was,
you've been through, you've been
yeah,
tempted, but you're like, nope. And this voice
yeah,
is not because I did some magic on the purge to make you like a
no.
loyal client or whatever. No, the purge is really just to purge everything. So even if I did magic, it would not work because the purge would purge it. So it was really just your own intuition telling you, like, hey, you don't want to risk doing that. You don't
Don't
want to
do
get
it.
into that.
Don't
You
do
know,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was
I
interesting
was so
because I thought
afraid.
maybe, but I was asking you, it's interesting. I was asking you because I thought maybe it was like a revelation, or like after we activated the pact for you or something like that. But in this case, it's like something that was brewing in the back of
Um,
your mind, and you came to that conclusion. I thank you for sharing that with us, Amal. Now,
it had nothing to
to
do with
fin-
the pack or anything. It was just something
it
telling
was
me that.
before that.
It was
Yeah.
before that.
Mhm.
It was
Yeah.
something telling me that if I wanted to work with you, I should not work with anybody else because it's gonna mess up everything. So,
Well,
like literally, I'm not gaining anything from saying this. It's something told me not to do it because it's not good. There, I'm just gonna say it straight up.
did you hear that, guys? It's not me. It's not me who said it. She said it. I thank you. No, really, it's really important. Look, I'll be honest with you. If I tell that, they're not going to believe me. But
Yeah,
even
I know.
deeper than that
I
is,
know.
even if the person is good, even if the practitioner is, let's say, he's honest and competent and ethical, the
Hmm.
jinns, the spirits don't get along. So
Yeah,
let's say you're going to get spirits from this guy, spirits from that guy, but they are very competitive. They are very proud. And each one of them thinks that they are the best at their job.
can
Even
I mention
worse
something on
is
that?
that, sure, please do.
So this is like real. Anybody can go search it. There's this like interview with like in Iraq, interview with a magician. This is literally famous, and if you want, I can send it to you so you can take that apart and put it for everybody to see. Because I'm not kidding.
Sure, sure.
He said it with his own words. He said that there's women that would come to me, and that would do work with me, and then they would do work with somebody else on their husband, and then both of that would kill that person. He said that his magic, the spirits that he works with have killed a lot of people because that person decides to go and work with other people, and then they start to fight with each other, and then they kill that person. I can send you that link so you can,
Wow.
yeah, like I'm not even kidding.
Wow.
So you're right about that. Like, it's not even a joke. It's not a joke.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
dangerous.
I wouldn't go to the point of killing. I wouldn't go that far to say that they would kill, but I know for a fact
Yeah.
that what would happen is that there would be this disagreement. Then they would start
Mm-hmm.
getting to a competition. Then the spirits from
Yep.
one practitioner will start blocking the other spirits from the other practitioner, and things escalate into war eventually. Okay.
Yeah.
This is something that even one practitioner himself can
Mm-hmm.
do this by getting spirits who don't work well together. Let's say for me, before working with the spirit personally and working, basically making an agreement for, and basically getting these arrangements that I would do for other people, he's vetted by
Mm-hmm.
the spirits that I work with, and then he gives his consent to work with them. And many times I would get rejected, not because of me, but because there's some other spirit who works with me that they don't get along with.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no
And
one goes through this process,
mhm.
and that's why you can have seven kings. People like, they're like, this guy is he can have seven kings on a contract, or he can have 14, or he can have, people don't understand that thing, because it's usually like the most you're going to get is like a pact or a working with just one entity, or
Yep.
like maybe seven, like the seven Jinn Kings, the classical ones. Everyone knows they work well together. Me, I work with other spirits who are not part of this classical seven. How can I do that? Is by going through this process. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's complicated. They have their own feelings. They have their, like, they're kings. Is the name king is not a decorative title. It's, a real king. So, anyways,
Yeah.
I thank you for sharing that with me. And yeah, if you can share that link with me, I want to see it for my own self. I want to see what this guy has to say.
No, I will.
About
I will
the
show
spirit.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, about spirits killing other people. Now,
Yeah.
we've been going on for a while, and you've answered and shared with us a lot of information, a lot of practical advice, I think, that people can really benefit from. And yeah, I really hope that it touches their hearts and minds. But before we end this interview, because the purpose of it is for you to get your message out. You told me I have a story, I want to share it, but in a few words, concisely, what would you tell someone in, could be man or woman, could be Arab or otherwise, could be Muslim or not, someone who's going through a similar situation or not, anyone who's listening to this might be on the fence if my work could help them, or if this is something that could help them or could positively change their life. What would you have to say in relation to all of this experience?
I would say that if you took if you went through doctors and you went through, like, you tried the scientific method, I want to call it. You went to doctors, and then you see patterns and you feel it in your heart that something isn't right. And you're being gaslit by so many people. No one believes you, because I feel like that was my main problem, was that no one believed me. No one believes you, or you get told that it's not a big deal, it's not real. You get told that your iman is not it, and this is why you're feeling this way. And then once you start reading more Quran or praying more, it'll get better. But you do that, you're already praying, you're already doing, you're already reading, you're already listening, and nothing is getting better. Please listen to your heart. You know that something is wrong with you. You know that you're not crazy. You know that you're not depressed. You know that you love this person, but at times things are weird, that it's not what it seems to be. It's not what it's not what people make it seem to be. And I want to say, don't be afraid to reach out. Okay, don't be afraid to take that step and say, okay, I can do this. Okay, the only thing that I have to say is, if I didn't believe that day, if I didn't sit there and click and book that appointment and believe and trust, and I trusted myself to do it, I wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be happy. My marriage wouldn't be here right now at all. I don't know where I would be, because, as I said, this whole process that led me to Rida was like, oh, in a year span. If I didn't really trust myself, if I just listened to people and I didn't really listen to the voice inside me, and if I didn't really click on link and book the interview, I don't think I would be here. So just do it. That's my message to people out there. Don't let the Muslim raqis and the toxic culture a seed in your head that it's all made up, or you don't have enough iman, or you're depressed, or whatever. If it's a pattern, and if there's something wrong with you, okay, and you know it, and you want to do something about it, do something about it. That's all I have to say. Just go ahead and go with it. And mostly is, do your research. Just don't click on just anybody. Don't go on, like, have a real sense of logic, that if this person is, like, when you're like reading through the comments, have a sense of logic. If this person's gonna ruin a person's life by separating a certain someone, then what they're dealing with isn't really gonna help you in the long run. It may help you for a couple of months, and then it's gonna go back to whatever it was. Because obviously who they're working with or who they're bringing into your life isn't really that good as spirit. So this is what I want to say, is that do your research. If the person that you're trying to work with looks suspicious or feels like you feel a certain way, don't do it. That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say.
Wow, that is some Very valuable advice, I would say, and I thank you for it. I think that whoever needs to hear it will take heed of it, and if they ignore it, that's their loss. I think that really what you have shared with us today is an illustration of everything you just said. So it's like lessons learned from everything you've been through
Yeah.
throughout your whole
Mhm.
life. And some things that stick to mind that I advocate as well is you just know. It's like all these years as a child, as a teenager, as a young
You just
woman,
know.
people, yeah, you just know it
You just
deep inside of you, no matter who tells you, if it's psychologist, psychiatrist, a healer, a rocky, a magician, no matter who tells you what, you just know. And then when you hear the truth, you also know. So very interesting here that you said just listen to your intuition, listen to your heart, listen to yourself. She's not saying listen to Reda, she's not saying listen to Amal,
exactly.
she's not saying listen, just listen to
Just
yourself. If
listen
you
to your
just
heart.
do that, if you just do that, you'll get to the right place, exactly where you want to be. And this is all by God's grace and mercy. We've met, what, all in all, I think maybe 3 or 4 months ago, and we are
Yeah.
just getting started. When you see the results and you see how your life has changed in such a relatively short span of taking into account how long this has been going on for you, it is nothing short of a miracle. Although we are not special, Amanda is not special, I am not special. We're just trying to do the best we can with what God has given us from His grace and mercy. Very important, very insightful advice. Thank you so much, Amal, for doing this interview. Not for me, not for yourself, but for
For the
all the
people.
people who
For
need
the
to
people.
hear it.
Yeah.
Really, it was such a journey, roller coaster, emotional journey
Yes.
through very sad and deplorable conditions to happiness and joy. And I'm the only thing I can say at this point is I'm so grateful to have even a very minute part, anything small, any percentage, any 0.0001% that I can have a hand in it. I'm so grateful to God to be able to. And yeah, what a way to end this interview. Thank you, Amal, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
I do want to end this by saying I want to thank God. I want to thank Allah for guiding me here because I truly believe that it was God that guided me here. And I am back on my journey to praying to God. Alhamdulillah. Going to
Alhamdulillah.
start, I'm going to start being very open minded to love and accept love in my heart and be more accepting of Allah in my heart and not being angry anymore and all that stuff that I used to have and I used to deal with. And I just want to end this video by saying thank you and thank Allah for everything that has brought me here. I want to thank Allah for getting me here, getting me till this day, doing this interview, and just to be like, just send gratitude to the universe. I just want to be thankful. I just want
Absolutely.
to say thank God, thank Allah. I feel like when people say, who's she saying, those people that you mentioned, God, whoever God is, but I want to say Allah. I want to thank Allah for everything. And I'm very grateful and very happy I'm here right now. That's all I want to say.
Yeah. If we end that, if we end with that, I think
Yep.
that's what how everything starts. Thank Allah,
Yes.
and that's how it ends. Is thank Allah.
God for
Thank you
everything.
again, Amal.
Thank you.
Really wonderful interview. Thank you so much. And yeah, maybe we do another one about how you became like this super woman. Who knows? Who knows? But
You never know, you
this is
never
it
know.
for now. Thank you guys for sticking around with us. It was a pleasure to make.